Okay, there we go. Apparently, my microphone is dead. So we will put that on the charger. And hello, everyone, and welcome. Oh, let me change the camera. See, I'm all confuddled, but that's okay. Okay, I'm all backwards. So, hello, everyone. This is Tucker from Tucker Sewing and Quilting, and tonight could be a hot mess, but that's okay because we're going to have fun either way while I do some long arm quilting on this quilt that you will have a video on in a couple days. So let me plug this in so that it charges, and then I will read some of the chat comments. Maybe. There we go. All right. Okay. Now they're on the charger, and I'm going to read some chat comments. So, we have Gloria Butler in here. Hi, Tucker from Tennessee and everyone. Hello, and I am soon going to be in Tennessee. So, that's great. We have Linda in here saying hello, Tucker. We have Patricia in here saying howdy from OKC. Yes. We have Jacqueline Spear in here, says hi, Tucker. We have Patty in here. Hey, Tucker and everyone. We have Jackie in here. Jimmy. There we go. Melena Montoya in here. Hey. Pat Strawhouse. Hey. So, welcome to everyone who is joining. I'm going to fix this screen a minute because it's working on my nerves. Okay, there we go. So, my hot mess is starting to become a little bit more organized. My desk, we're not even going to talk about that. I don't think I have sat down at that desk to sew since Friday. Since Friday when I was on live with Donna over at Handmade by Ying, I got the quilting machine back here all packed up and it's ready to be sent off in the mail sometime this week. Other than that, everything else you can't see over there, just a hot mess express. But that's okay because it will get cleaned up. Let's see, what else has gone on in the past week? Not much. Just some exciting things that I'm working on. But since last week, hang on, I gotta clip that thread. Since last week, I have filmed a tutorial on this quilt right here. And the quilt that I'm going to be working on tonight is called Diamond Double. And it is a cozy quilt design. I'm working on finishing up the video tutorial on this quilt right here. And I will have kits available that you can get. And I will hopefully have the pattern that you can get. If you do decide to get the kit for this, all the pieces are laser cut and it just goes together wonderful. But also I am filming a why this not that for this quilt. So you can be on the lookout for one of those videos coming to a theater near you soon. Let's see. We have Sandy in here. Hello, Tucker from Upper Michigan. Woo, that's too cold for me, but thank you and welcome. Alrighty. First time watching from New Mexico. Well, welcome, Linda, and I hope you enjoy what goes on here tonight. So, I know Donna over at Handmade by Ying is live, so make sure after the live tonight, make sure you go over there and check out her interview with Carol Thielen. So, let me talk about this quilt just a little bit more. Since I'm doing a why this, not that, that means I'm doing custom quilting on this quilt. If you're new here, what is Why This Not That? Why This Not That is a series that I do for the quilts that I quilt. The Why This Not That is a deep dive into my thought process of why I chose that design, why I chose to put it in that particular area, and why I chose that thread, battings, things like that. So it's just picking my brain apart at every single angle, and I see hair all over the place, angle of the long arm quilting process. So I have a video over there on So Becca's Monica quilt, and I have a video of the flower quilt that is in this thumbnail. So we have Tiffany in here, says, "Hey Tucker, I'm here." Can't even read that. Oh, I have it right here. "Hey, I'm not here, not far, the same time, hand sewing and watching." Yes, you'll have to let us know in the chat, Tiffany, what row you're on, because I think you said on yesterday that you were 3 out of 6 rows. I think I can remember that. Mona did what is in here? Hey Mona, how are you? Alrighty. We have Yolanda Hale in here. Hello Tucker. Hello Yolanda. So let me switch cameras, and I don't have my little button presser. It isn't working, so I have to come over here and click buttons. So let me see if the light makes it any better. There we go. Look at that. So on this quilt right here, you can see that it sort of makes these square blocks. You start out with a square. There we go. You start out with a square, add a square on, and just continue. Sort of like a log cabin, but this block is only one-sided. So with that, you know, I really have to think of, okay, what do I want to show? Do I want the colors to show, or do I want the background to show? Now, since these are all batiks, if I was to do a pattern, and since these batiks are sort of busy, if I would have done an intricate pattern in these blocks, I wouldn't have been able to see them. So this quilt is going to be more for, or the quilting I should say, is just going to be for holding everything together, not show-worthy, full-blown custom, things like that. And, you know, sometimes it's okay, and sometimes quilts just need that, you know, echo quilting or things like that, like I did up here, just to hold everything together and to accentuate, is that even a word? Whatever, you get what I mean, the piecing. So what I've done in the white background areas is just done some 1/2 inch spacing echoes between both of the solid colors, or the prints. So that's what we're going to work on today. So actually I have to roll this because I am as far as I can go. So let me switch back to here. So yes, so while I'm doing that, maybe, I'm going to talk about how I'm liking these red snappers and the side grips. Okay, I need to move this computer back just a little bit. See if I can't knock it off the table. So this now is my like 12th quilt, something in around there, that I have used the red snappers. It only took me this morning only about 5 minutes to completely load the backing, excuse me, and then start to load the batting onto the frame. Normally it would have taken me about 10-15 minutes to even get the backing rolled up onto the leaders, and I was off and running in just a couple of minutes. So far I'm really liking the red snappers. The more I use them, the more that they are getting, you know, loosened up, so I can just roll them on in and get that quilt loaded. Okay. Now. Okay, that's good. This is all jacked up. The thread is out of the sensor up here. Hang on, let me zoom this over. All right. So you can see on my machine here that there is a host of thread paths that the thread has to travel through before it gets to the needle. And this is something that if you have a long arm or even on your domestic machine, when you haven't used the machine in a couple hours or in a couple days, it's always good to check your thread. You can see right here that this thread is just, I don't know what it's doing. It's trying to leave, but it's not wrapped around this thread break sensor up here. And if I was to start stitching, I would have poor tension on the bottom because there's not enough tension on the top. So it's always good to double check your threading path before you start quilting. Okay, let me run that back around. And I go around my thread break sensor twice. Hang on, it's too far away. Okay. We're going to do this since it's too far away. Right there. Pull that back through. Okay, here we go. Lock my locks. And tighten it up. Alrighty. So, let me put my side clamps on and we will be ready to get started. So, I will be using a ruler today. The ruler that I'm using is actually a Grace Company True Cut ruler, I think they call it. And I'll show in a minute why I'm able to use that ruler that is normally, I'm trying to snap these on, that is normally for regular rotary cutting. Okay, there's that one. And I'm really liking these new side clamps that I got. They look like this. They look like this. And they just strap to the edge of your backing here and give even tension on the backing. The ones that my machine came with, they're just two little clamps, and they only put tension on right where the clamps attach. But these give the backing an even pull, and these are really helping out. Put these on. All right, well, we're all ready to go. So let me show why I'm able to use this Grace, I don't even know, yeah, Grace True Cut ruler. And I have a pop socket on here, just so when I'm quilting, I can grab the ruler and I have a little bit more control. So, why am I able to use this ruler instead of the normal, like, Omnigrid ruler? I want you to look, hopefully it'll focus, if you can see the difference in thickness along the edge. This orange or this yellow, I need to go back to kindergarten. This green ruler is only 1/8 of an inch along the edge, and the clear ruler is 1/4 of an inch along the edge. This hopper foot right here is, let's measure it, is 1/4 of an inch. It's like 3/8 of an inch. So this prevents the hopper foot from going under like that. You don't want your hopper foot to ever go over your ruler because you can jack up the timing of your machine or your hopper foot, and you can break a needle and it'll become a hot mess. So as you can see right here, this foot or the ruler cannot go under the foot because the edge is higher than the foot. So you always want to make sure you're using a ruler that the edge is at least 1/4 of an inch thick, or is especially made for long arm quilting or high shank or low shank domestic sewing machines. So I am ready to get started. So I'm in regulated, and when you're using rulers, you have to remember that wherever you place your ruler, your stitching is going to be 1/4 inch away from your ruler. The normal is that your hopper foot from this edge to this edge is a 1/2 inch. And your needle is always in the center of that. So half of an inch is 1/4. So your needle is 1/4 inch in from all sides of this hopper foot. So you have to remember that when you're lining up your ruler. So I want my stitching lines to be a 1/2 inch apart. So I'm putting the 1/4 inch line on my seam. So my ruler is already a 1/4 inch away from that seam, and then another 1/4 inch is added between the foot and the needle. So when I stitch, like that, and I come back through and measure that, this little line right here is a 1/2 inch. That stitching falls within that 1/2 inch, which is exactly what we want. And another thing with long arm quilting is you use your non-dominant hand normally on, to hold your long arm and to guide it, and your dominant hand to hold the ruler. But sometimes you have an awkward, or I got that backwards. I'm so sorry. Normally you use your dominant hand to hold the machine and your non-dominant hand to hold the ruler. But sometimes if you need to have your ruler up here, this crossing your arm in front of the needle is going to be more troublesome than it needs to be. So with long arm quilting especially, you need to sort of be able to use both of your hands. So being able to use my non-dominant hand on the ruler and I got that confused again. Having my dominant hand on the ruler and non-dominant hand on the machine can really make a difference. So here I'm using my dominant hand to hold on to the ruler. Stitching in the ditch. And then traveling to where I need to. And another thing to be aware of when you're doing ruler quilting, especially on a long arm machine, and especially if you have a long arm that's more than 15 inches, as your machine gets farther back towards your pickup bar, your perspective of your quilt is shifting. And when your perspective shifts, it also shifts with the ruler. So when I'm down here, I can look directly on this ruler and see where my 1/4 inch is. But up here, I'm looking at it at more of an angle. And I find that when my machine's farther away, my measurement that I'm trying to hit gets a little bit smaller because my perspective is not letting me see the full picture. So I'm underestimating how much room or where my stitching is going to fall. So when you're ruler quilting, it's always good to keep your work closer towards you. But if you're needing to do something that's farther away, I would recommend marking your quilt prior to putting it on the machine or doing it on your domestic. Alrighty, so right now I'm only doing the outside. I'm doing the outside, and the reason I'm doing the outside is I actually have not made up my forever changing mind yet on what to put in the center square. And you'll see on the next pass that in the center of this quilt, maybe you can see just a little bit of it, that all of the squares come together. So what I'm thinking is, in my brain, is doing the orange peels in each one of the center of these blocks. And down here, we'll have all 4 orange peels together. And then it'll be, you know, however many squares come together, that's how many orange peels I'll do. And that's just, the orange peels are just a half of a circle in each side of the block. So I would do half a circle here, half a circle here, half a circle, half a circle. I think there's another name for them, but my brain is blanking at the minute. Let's see. We have Sue GSD in here. Says, hey, table mate. Let's see. Friday night on Zoom with Donna. Let's see. Great amount of information. Yes. You're so welcome, Sue. We have Roxanne in here. Says, hi. Hi, Roxanne. We have June Hansen in here. Hello, June. Gigi Quilts. Hello and welcome. So, I need to roll this again. Let's change it back for the commercial break. I'm just kidding. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else. There's so many things that I want to say, but I can't think of the order of how to say them. Let's see. What projects am I working on recently? As you can see back there, I am working with Donna over at Handmade by Ying on Mr. Elephant. That is a foundation paper piecing pattern by Violet Craft. And we have just wrapped up filming or going live for week 5. Wow. Week 5. Yeah, so in 2 weeks on Friday, we'll come back and do a wrap up with the elephant. Also, I have been working on the Carol Thielen 320 something half square triangle project, which will be ending next Monday. And then, I'm trying to think, what else? But this week, I am working on doing a lot of projects, a lot of recording projects. There we go. I recorded this project. I need to film the Why This Not That for this quilt. So hopefully I'll get this quilt all done tomorrow. Then I am filming a video on the Enchanting Stars quilt by Jacqueline Dijon. That is going to be a Why This Not That, about how to take in mass amounts of fullness, or how I did it anyway. And hopefully some of you can use some of those tips if you have a quilt like the Enchanting Stars, which is right here. Let me show that. That has just at least 2 inches of fullness. So some of these borders where it was pieced have a little bit of extra fullness and needs to be worked in. So I got to work on this week, because in a couple weeks I won't be here. I am going to be away, and right now I am oh, hang on, I gotta get this in here. Right now I can't quite say where I'm gonna be, but hopefully in a week or 2 I will be able to tell you all of the tea. Tell you where I'm gonna be and what I have been really up to the past couple of weeks. But until then, it's a mystery. So anyway. Yes. All right. All right. Got the side clamps on. So now I have 3 or 4, maybe 5 different blocks to quilt. The way this quilt is laid out is that all of these diamond shapes form or combine around this one diamond in the center. And I'll show you the pattern. The outside of it, here's the picture. Here we go. All right. This is what the quilt is going to look like. The colors are a little bit different in this quilt, but the borders are the same and things like that. But instead of using the white, this quilt actually, oh, I'm like, what turned off? The quilt actually uses more of like tan colors and more muted colors, and it really turned out great. So that's what this quilt is. So yeah. So let me switch these cameras. There we go. And we will continue on. All right, so I'm switching hands so I can be safe and number one, have better control. Now, when I am doing ruler work, it is always one of the things that sometimes I forget is that I'm not controlling the movement of that with the machine. I'm controlling where my machine goes with the ruler. So when I'm doing ruler quilting, my ruler shouldn't be moving anywhere, and my hand should just be guiding the machine along that ruler. Not the machine guiding the ruler, but the ruler guiding the machine. Because if the machine is guiding the ruler, then the ruler's going to slip and things like that. So I need to remember to have more pressure on the ruler. That's why we have a ruler base under our machines. More pressure on the ruler than on the machine. So I just have a light touch on the machine. Let me show both cameras so you can see the light touch. There we go. So when I have my machine, if you can see down there in the corner, I just barely hold on to this machine. I'm not gripping it to death and things like that. I'm just lightly holding it and just guiding it in the direction that I want it to go, along the ruler. here is the fun one. So, as you can see here, this is where all 4 of the blocks come together. Let me move this camera so you can see. Without any interruptions, right? You can see it right there. So it's just solid white the whole way around. Now before, on these blocks, I would travel along this intersection right here to get to my next row of echo quilting. But here, I don't have that extra row. So what I have to do is quilt around the whole thing, break thread, and then move on to the next section. So I have to eyeball, or I can use my ruler, where that 1/2 inch is, and get started. Now, if you take notice, I did not start in the corner. The reason that I didn't start in the corner is because when you're looking at like the back of your quilt, especially if you have a high contrasting backing fabric than your thread, your eye will be able to catch where you stopped and started because there's 2 layers of thread instead of 1. I find that if I start a little bit away from the corner, it blends in a lot easier to the eye than starting in the corner. Switching hands. Ambidextrous is the word. It finally dawned upon me. Now, right here is exactly where the first stitch is. But what I like to do when I'm quilting is just stitch over that just a little bit, maybe like 1/4 inch, and then stitch back, just to really secure all of those threads in place. Alrighty, I'm going to move in to the next section. And we'll continue on. So I want to show you here. If I was to not switch, if I wasn't comfortable, there we go. If I wasn't comfortable with switching hands, I would know where my foot needs to be. So I know that my spacing is a 1/2 inch apart. So I can see on my ruler that has markings on it that my needle currently is where I need to pivot to go the other direction. So when the spacing in between this one and this one right now is a 1/2 inch. So if I didn't feel comfortable using my other hand, I could continue to use my left hand, and I can use the markings on the ruler to line it up with the fabric over here. Keeping that fabric, you know, with those same markings there will give me the same 1/2 inch. But it'll just change the perspective once again. Let's see. Tiffany says, I want a long arm quilt, but nothing is set up right now. I have to live vicariously through you, Tuckaroo. Yes, that's right. Well, hey, just give me a call, and I'll quilt with you. Or for you, I should say. Alrighty. One more loop around the center. Oh, I did good at guesstimating. Okay. All right. That took major concentration. All right. Oh, also, so we can see some of the colors here, obviously, in the quilt top. And I was debating on what color to choose for the backing. And I didn't have anything here, and I went to the quilt store, and then I saw this fabric. And when I saw this fabric, I thought, oh my gosh, this is perfect, because it has the greens, the blues, sometimes pink, sometimes purple, and it had the tanny orange background. And I thought, this will be great. It'll show some of the quilting on the background, and it'll blend some of the quilting on the background. So that is the fabric that I went for. Hello, gang. What is that ruler? Let's see. I have carpal tunnel. I need something to hold. Okay. So this is the, can I hold it up here? There we go. The Grace Company True Cut ruler. This is the 6.5-inch ruler. And this little blue thing didn't come with it. This is actually a dollar store pop socket. And you can order pop sockets off of Amazon. You can order them with all different types of things on it. I have a couple that I have a couple in the drawer that I'm waiting for this thing to fall off so I can put my Gamble pop socket on here. But the pop sockets are meant for the back of your cell phones. But I thought, how cool would it be to put it on here and I can hold it a little better. So I just put my fingers in between there, make like a peace sign, and stick my fingers in between there, and it just helps me keep my hand flat, and it helps give a grip on the ruler. You're so welcome, Teresa. All right, let's see. I think we'll be able to do one more because I need some for tomorrow to record. Okay, hang on. I want to switch cameras for 1 second. Okay. So when I am... Let me take a sip. Okay. My machine moves, so I need to pull it up. Pull the thread. Scissors. But I wanted to take note to my posture for a minute. When I was right here, as you can see, my machine, the belly bar is at like stomach height right now, right there at my belly button. I found myself going like this, all hunched over and things like that. The last quilt that I had on the machine was an edge to edge, and I was using the Statler. When I am running an edge to edge pattern, I like to lower the height of my machine. Since my machine is on hydraulics, they're on thinner legs instead of the full solid metal legs that they were on. So if I just wiggle my machine back and forth, you can see it wiggles. So the lower I have my machine, the more stable it becomes when the Statler's wiggling the thing back and forth. And I just forgot to put my machine back up. So luckily I have my machine on hydraulics, so all I have to do is click a button and it'll go up. The reason you want your machine to be higher is because you need full visibility of the ruler. If I'm standing here straight up with the correct posture, I am not able to even see my needle. And obviously that's a very important part of quilting, is being able to see your needle. So even having my machine up this much higher will make all the difference when it comes to visibility with quilting. So we're going to go up to the sky for a minute. Here we go. And that's actually as high as my machine went. Okay, see, normally your machine is supposed to be here, but I must be a little taller than normal, and this is as high as it goes. But even so, it's a couple inches higher, and it is still better visibility. There we go. So there is that pass, and I'm over halfway through the middle, which is great. So let's see. I used the dollar store POC sockets too. Love them. Yes, they really do help give a better grip on your ruler. Yeah, so a pop socket. Wow, why do I keep saying POC? A pop socket really does help give you that extra grip on your ruler, and it also helps you keep your hand flat. So yes, so I hope that everyone has, number one, learned something. That's always the goal here. And I hope everyone has had a lot of fun. Yes, like I said, be sure to be on the lookout for the tutorial on how to put this quilt together. Because there is a little bit of difficulty, especially with these corner triangles right here. That means that this is on the bias and things like that. And I give you all the tips and tricks to make sure that your quilt is going to lay square and lay flat. Because if you're quilting it, which most everyone is, that is very, very important. Also, if you are interested, there are kits available for this quilt over on my website, and it gives you all of the fabric to complete the top and the binding, and all of the pieces are laser cut. So the pieces fit together absolutely great, and I would definitely recommend a laser cut kit. So anyway, yes, so another thing, also, if you do have a quilt that you would like quilted, I do have availability. So I will pop the link to my email and my website in the box below if you would like to send me your quilt. Tucker Sewing and Quilting. Look at that. gmail.com. Let me make sure it's spelled right. Well, I can't spell Gmail. I spelled Gamel. .com. Wow, words are hard. Okay, there's my email. And then let me go fetch the link for my website. And you can submit a form for longarm quilting on my website too, if that is something you're interested in. Let me pop the link in the chat. There we go. That is the link to my website. So yeah. So I absolutely love going live and sharing my quilting process. It's just so much fun. It's great to chat with everyone, and y'all get to see the fun that goes on here in this messy room. So like I said in the beginning, a lot has happened since about November, and you know, the Christmas rush and things like that. So the studio is in shambles right now. And that's why you haven't got a studio tour yet. Right now, the ceiling up above you, from the projector to about where you are, is unfinished. Well, it just needs painted. So my plan is to get everything cleaned up, move the machine out of the way in a couple weeks, get everything painted, and then film finally a studio tour. So yeah. So I'm doing a lot of videos, pre-records, and I just can't wait for everyone to see all the videos and all the fun things that I have in store. So with that being said, if anyone has any questions, pop them in the chat if you would. And until then, I need to go to bed, and then I'm going to wake up tomorrow and get this quilt finished. So I hope everyone has enjoyed their time here. Remember, if you haven't already, head over to Handmade by Ying with Donna's channel and check out the videos we have been doing on the elephant, and also check out the interview she did tonight with Carol Thielen of the Five Oaks Retreat. And she also does the 320 half square triangle sew along. So I want to thank everyone for joining tonight. It's always great being here, and I'm so grateful that everyone has showed up and has joined me on this wonderful Monday evening. So, all right, everyone, I'm going to cut it off, and I will see everyone maybe next Monday. Maybe. Because there's something in the water. So, all right, everyone, I will see you all later. Thank you all for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button for more of these lives. So, thank you, everyone, and see you, everyone, later.